Today, I'm going to share a live experience working with the US medical and healthcare system. I'll also contrast it with India because I've accessed both the systems, and it also serves as a red herring for anyone looking to relocate to the US or trying to access healthcare here. And this is not only my story, but having talked to numerous people who have accessed healthcare here in the US, more or less the general consensus is that healthcare in the US is not only expensive, it is atrocious. It is marred with bureaucracy because of insurance, and at the end of the day, it is inaccessible because you don't get appointments of doctors and things like that. It's very difficult to get second and third opinions. And last but not the least, the mindset of the doctors here is very, very unempathetic. In fact, it is extremely rare to find a doctor who is willing to understand what you are saying, go the extra mile, and who understands the subject. I'm sorry to say that after having experienced several doctors here, it seems that their education itself is very, very substandard actually, as compared to what I have seen in India. Not only the doctors here are very less experienced, even with all the gray hair and claiming that they have 30 to 40 years of experience. I've also observed that their practice is very limited. They lack general knowledge, and uh, at the end of the day, they don't have the best interest of the patients actually. So, having started with all these allegations, let me narrate another incident that I have been living with right now. As many of you already know, we have already been dealing with childbirth, the complications there, detection of stage 4 cancer, dealing with that. And now, most recently, my elder son spilled some, hot burning water and basically burnt his buttocks actually over Sunday evening. So I rushed him to emergency department here. Um, Rather than giving any kind of first aid or any kind of medication, etc., they kept on asking us what happened, how did it happen, and basically technically wasted our time actually. And this is again with the Evergreen, at Redmond actually, their emergency department. Uh, Essentially, if you see, I had already put some like cold water on his wounds so that he gets some essentially some kind of relief, which he did. And then I also applied some coconut oil. I don't know whether it is antiseptic, I know, so maybe it did provide some relief to him. And then I actually took him directly to Evergreen emergency care. Like as usual, doctors are completely unintelligent, they're unempathetic. He couldn't do anything there. In fact, he kept on saying, there is a burn specialist hospital, Harborview at Seattle, and I'll consult with them and I'll let you know what the next steps are. Before actually even doing anything, we spent close to 2 hours at the emergency department. They couldn't even provide first aid. Can you believe this? They just said that they are not equipped to solve burn cases, and you need to be going to Harbor View in Seattle, which is at least like 30 minutes from Redmond. The first off, we basically wasted 2 hours sitting at the hospital, and then he just said that you go to basically, uh, you know, Harbor View at Seattle because that's the burn specialist. And let me tell you this thing. Even when I looked at the burns, of course, the outer skin came out from the buttocks, and it was definitely scary as a parent. But it was nothing out of ordinary that cannot be taken care of by an emergency department. So I was very, very surprised, essentially, that you cannot solve for this. So I'm reading like a comment by Lawrence. Where are you from? I am in the US, and coconut oil is used for scar marks, not for wound. Could be true. Again, I'm not an expert in that, but coconut oil does have anti-septic and antibacterial properties. So I thought it would be good, because whenever there are cut marks and other kind of wounds, you can still put that. But maybe in burning, maybe it doesn't help. I'm not sure about it. But back to the story. So we actually rushed him to essentially Harborview Hospital at Seattle. By the time it was already like 9 p.m., because we came into emergency around 6 p.m., wasted a lot of time, didn't get any treatment there. Now that we reached the Harborview Hospital, we finally got the treatment only at 1:30 a.m. Can you believe this? Just one doctor after other were coming in, just asking the same questions again and again, showcasing that they're very empathetic, they're very concerned about the child, etc. Like, it was basic second degree burn. It was not even like, very high burn, etc. It was extremely visible from just at looking at it. All they could do is that one doctor after another, one nurse after the other, kept on coming in, asking the same questions, taking photographs, again checking it, again going back. Finally, they were not able to make a decision whether they want to make us stay there or give us the bandage and treatment and we can go back home. So finally, around 1:30 a.m., they said that, okay, we are going to go to the theater, and we will do the treatment there. You know what they did in the treatment? All they did was they cleaned the wounds with antibacterial soap and towels. By that time, my son already had built blisters, because it was several hours since the incident happened. They popped those blisters that were there, again cleaned those wounds. They had given him some, Tylenol and ibuprofen. They also gave him another sedative, so that he should not feel the pain. And all they did was they basically put the bandages essentially with the antiseptic cream on top of it, and that was it. So the actual job was hardly 15 to 20 minutes, and we waited for it for last 6 7 hours. Actually, can you believe it? Like, I only came back home taking my son back at 2:30 a.m. back, and this incident happened around 6 p.m. in the evening. We were back at 2:30 a.m. The next day, actually. So we technically lost, you can easily see, 8 to 9 hours, 10 hours actually that day, to do such a basic treatment that any emergency or urgent care department should have been capable of doing it, but not here. So this is the ordeal here in the US, and I'm raising this as a like a red flag for anyone who is thinking of getting any kind of care here in the US. Truth be told, you are better off taking care by yourself than going to doctors here. They're like completely hopeless. They are too afraid. They don't have common sense, and you can imagine, like, this could have been given to us by the same doctor whom we met initially at the Evergreen emergency department in Redmond itself. Like, all they had to do was that clean the wound with like clean cloth, warm water with antibacterial soap, you know, and then just dress the wound with antibacterial cream and just cover it. All that was required was this, and they couldn't make a judgment. If they had a question whether it is a second degree burn or first degree burn or third degree burn, they could have taken photographs and looked at it and compared. That's what they did, and they could still not figure out. In fact, even Evergreen doctors were doing it on the phone and trying to discuss with Harborview. They couldn't come to a conclusion, and maybe I'm thinking Harborview itself told that, why don't you send the patients there, we'll check it out. So we thought maybe Harborview people will be intelligent. But when we went there, even Harborview doctors were kind of like perplexed. They were coming again and again, just taking photographs, checking it again, and they were not able to decide whether basically they what kind of treatment they would give. Finally, it occurred to them that one of their nurses can do the treatment, but we had already lost a lot of time by then. So what they did was, now it has already been 2 days, and I have done the dressing for my son for the past 2 days, and I'm not even a doctor. I have been able to do it much more faster than what they were able to do. Give my son a shower bath, take out the previous bandage, clean the wound with like soap and water, dry it there, create the new bandage, put the ointment there, apply it on his buttocks, and bandage it off. So this is where the whole issue here in the US is. One, the doctors are too naive here. Like, even with tons of experience, they don't know how to deal with things. They're unable to make decisions and move forward, and they just waste tons of times. This was such a simple kind of a treatment. Had this been in India, and believe me, I've been in India multiple times, I've accessed doctors multiple times. First off, you can go to any nearby clinic. If there is burn, they would have done the dressing themselves. Like, it wouldn't have been a problem at all. They would have cleaned the wound, put some antiseptic there, provided the pain relief medication so that child will not be under trauma, and applied the bandage. In fact, in India, they wouldn't have asked us to do the dressing and the wound. They would have either asked us to come to the clinic, which would have been just next door to our home, to come there so that they can do the dressing daily. Or you could have called like a compounder in India to come to your home and do the dressing for your son. Both are a possibility. But here in the US, like God forbid, if you get sick, or if you're older in age, etc., or if you're disabled, it's a nightmare here. Even basic things like such a thing, like the good part here is the facilities will seem like very big. They will have very big equipments, new equipments, even everything will look like hunky dory and extremely big. But when it comes to like delivering the results, they're very, very hopelessly poor here in the US. So I wanted to narrate this instance. This is a instance just happened. My son's wounds are still healing. I am doing the dressing, me and my wife, even though we have no medical training, but all we have is common sense, logic. We just saw how he did the dressing, and we are doing it ourselves. Think about it. If we as laymen can do the dressing and cleaning and everything, shouldn't an emergency department be equipped to do the dressing for like a burn? Right, I can understand if the burn was very severe, or it is third degree or fourth degree, where it needs further action, then I can understand it will be difficult. But like for second degree burn, which is not even, it's like a borderline second degree burn, you can still see the skin. There was no blood as such, it was just the outer skin which basically came out. Yeah, it's pretty hopeless here actually. So India, from that perspective, right, not only is it cheaper, like in India they would have charged maybe 100 200 bucks to do the dressing, actually not more than that, maybe 500 bucks packs. Here, you know how much the bill was? $550 just for this dressing and wound, basically. That's the problem here. And they had like nurses coming in and out. 5 or 6 nurses came, uh, 2 or 3 assistants came, some social worker came, one pediatric came. All they were coming and just asking us questions and going back, taking no action. Actually, it's all talk here, no action. And that's the worst part. And this is the true. When we were pregnant, I saw a similar kind of lackluster behavior of the doctors here. In the emergency department, I've visited multiple times. I visited urgent care multiple times. It's all lackluster people here actually. They just don't have knowledge. And even in the cancer treatment, I've seen my wife was under a fever. We tried to contact the hospital for cancer, and they just prescribed Tylenol. And they said like a fever in a cancer stage 4 specifically, it could be fatal. It is like very, very emergency situation. But they were taking their own sweet time. Thank God nothing happened. Now her fever is also in control, but we had to skip the chemo for last week. Hopefully we are going back for chemo this week again. But we are basically fed up with the medical system here. Like, it's like horribly gone wrong. It's super inaccessible. In fact, doctors here not very well educated and don't use their logic as well. That's the worst part actually. So I think the bad part in India is, because India is extremely crowded, uh, you always have to use some references, etc., to access hospitals. But if you do have money as a middle class or upper middle class, you can still access hospitals and get the treatment that you require. The problem in India is sometimes, hygiene could be an issue. Sometimes doctors' greed could be an issue, but the smartness is there in the doctors. They're very well educated. They have a lot of experience dealing with different kind of patients. In the US, I highly doubt that these guys have a lot of experience dealing with different patients, and they don't use their brains, or they just lack common sense actually. I think being your own doctor here is much better by either getting reference from India, talking to somebody that you know of, or just researching on Google. I don't recommend that as a solution, but I think you're better off doing that rather than depending upon doctors here, whether it is in emergency department or pediatric care or internal medicine. Things are like complete hopeless here in the US. Must have to say that and admit that. That is why we are looking at like going to India on the first flight we can. As soon as my wife gets a little bit better, she is in remission after the cancer treatment, because many things even in the cancer treatment they have missed here that they should have done. We just got to learn about it later because we ourselves are not cancer experts. But yeah, things are like very very like hopeless here in the US. Let me read another comment. I am blessed in the US. They are Google doctors. You are right, completely Google doctors, and they don't have logic. Actually, that's the worst part. Their common sense is missing. Actually, this is from a critical care nurse. I was told. Yeah, even like the nursing system, the doctors, practitioners, completely hopeless here. They have zero knowledge. I have found people who were in India, they're much more intelligent. They're very, very smart. They would be cunning because they want to, they are greedy in India. Maybe doctors here are maybe not as greedy or they are not greedy, but I find them actually quite dumb. Actually, they are not able to understand the symptoms. They're not able to follow, like, what symptoms that you're observing, what is the physiology of the patient that you're dealing with. There are a lot of other things that you need to do, but yeah, if you are like disabled or if you get ill or if you are of older age, I don't think US is the right place to be ever, because you would need medical care, help, and here their doctors are incapable of providing that. uh, I'm blessed. Older generation who was knowledgeable is almost at retirement age. I will go to South India if we get sick or die. I think, yeah, you are right. You should definitely go to India. This is why many people with money opening medical centers in US. Yeah, like you can make a lot of money because the price of care is extremely high here. One pediatrician missed my son's symptoms and laughed when I said you need to change meds. Yeah, you're right, they're like unempathetic. They just use words in English and manipulate them, showcasing as if they really care about you. But this is just like figure of speech. Actually, all they do is that for them it is you're just one statistic. They don't care actually. Even I remember, like in the trauma center, when I was at the Harbor View Center, one after the other doctor was coming, some pediatrician was coming, something was saying, and I said I would need an urgent attention for my son because I have a 5-year-old at my home with my in-laws, and they are elderly age as well, and sorry, my son is with you, so he needs immediate treatment because he got burnt around like 6 p.m. It's already like 11 and 12 p.m. here, so please give him urgent treatment. My wife is a stage 4 cancer patient, so she cannot stay with him here too long. And then my younger son, who is just 4 months old, is with my in-laws back home, so we need to be able to get back to home there. You know what their answer was? Oh, the doctor is already going to take care. I said, no, doctor is going to take their decision. That is fine. Can you provide this additional information to them so that we can expedite this process? Yeah, I mean, they just take the information and do nothing about it. That's the worst part. There is no concept of emergency here. We were in emergency department and only got the treatment after 8 hours. Think about this emergency, right? Maybe, thank God, like my son didn't have worse burnt wounds. Maybe if he had nerve damage or anything like that, it would have been very very bad for him, right? And they didn't even like care to like put some initial ointment or give the initial treatment. That's the worst part. uh, it was a parental instinct. I switched to over to counter meds, and he was okay in one day. It is all about dollars. You are right. I even doubt that it is all about dollars here. Sure, insurance angle is there and things along those lines. The doctors here miss basic common sense. That's what I would have to say. And I doubt the education that they get here is very well rounded. I think this is what I have learned, because back home in India, I know, like, even like a basic MBBS who is not even masters is able to like do most of the things, dressings, wound healing by themselves. They don't need any specialist for like burn and things like that. You have to go to like a specialist hospital for that. If that starts happening in India, then good luck with the care, because with the population that India has, if for everything you have to go to the specialist, then you're done. Most of the MBBS doctors in India are able to take care of many of the things here. Even specialists are scratching their head. Yeah. And yeah, basically you are right. Like here it is, even urgent care, the problem was urgent care was not open, and that is why I went to emergency. And urgent care and emergency department both are in the same hospital, like, so I'm doubt if with the emergency care was unable to take handle of it, I doubt even the urgent care would have taken care of it. But I don't know. Like, yeah, I would have tried going to urgent care as well, because of the burn. Technically, they should be able to solve for it. But yeah, I mean the experience is all over the place, and I would recommend anyone trying to seek care here in the US should think at least 10 times before moving to US or trying to get any kind of care, whether it is cancer care or urgent care or basic medical care or things like that. And especially with your kids and all, you have to be very very careful, because my son was also experiencing cold and cough, and he was coughing quite a bit. That's why we were giving him steam when he spilled the water on himself. Point is that like they didn't even take care of his like coughing symptoms and all. They said, oh, we are just going to first solve the burn, that is my urgent issue, that is my urgent issue. And even that they took like whole 10 hours to solve for it, and never even gave us any medication or any treatment or any suggestions for his fever and like symptoms and things like that. um, Let me read another of your message. Discussing both my kids who are teenagers in the same room, I had to tell them keep the kids separate since they are different sex. Lack of cultural background. Yeah, I think here they are like hopelessly foolish. Actually, they don't even think about things like that. Actually, they lack common sense. That is why they have like a lot of problems here. That there are a lot of misdiagnostic cases here. There are a lot of lawsuits. I myself am pursuing a misdiagnostic case against Evergreen Hospital, because this is just like horrible. Like nobody should get this kind of bad care. And the worst part is all the innovation, all the research happens in the US. So they are able to attract all the researchers from all over the world who conduct all the research. They have all the facilities, they have all the trials that are done here, and they come out with the good medications here as well. But when it comes to delivering that, implementing that, very hopelessly very very bad in that. So with that, I'm going to check out today. I hope you are having a great time. Do spend time with your families as the winter season is approaching by. Do like, share, and subscribe. And if there is any other topic, let me know. I'll be more than happy to cover that. But I wanted to share this. The healthcare system is completely for a toss here, not only because of the insurance hurdles that you get, but even if you basically jump those hoops of insurance, the doctors that you are going to deal with, they will be lacking common sense. They will be unempathetic towards you, even if they talk politely and all, but they are basically not listening to you. And forget about any kind of cure from them. You are better off doing your own searches on Google and solving it, rather than depending upon doctors here. I will have to say that it's just very very hopeless. uh, so I think last is it's all facade for them. Yeah, you are right. They are completely that way. And people who complain should come and live here and see. Yeah, you are right. Here it is very very all over the place. I'm like, I never imagined, like I knew healthcare was bad. It was like doctors are complete like duffers here actually. Like even know what they have studied in their education, like because even we even in like 10th 12th standard, like when we studied science, we also know. So with that, I was going to check out today, and hopefully we'll meet again in a new video. Till then, take care, have a nice day, and bye.